fired up. Big board ready, phones all lit. Miami mine on that perfect fit. Pick by pick, we're cutting through the smoke. We're talking future with every quote. Bobby bringing that bold hot take. Josh with the stats to keep it straight. Coach breaking down every twist and turn. Chalk on the board while the cameras burn. On the clock, fans talk, let the war room rock. Hey, Bobby, Josh, and Coach where the fans flock. From the first big call to the final spot. On the clock, fans talk, Dolphins draft. Fans talk, Dolphins draft. Can't stop, oh, can't stop. Trade up, trade back, what's the move? Who's that dog that's got something to prove? Sleeper in the third, steal in the late. Every single name could change our fate. From the podium buzz to the fan base roar. We're riding every pick like it's
With the 11th pick, the Miami Dolphins select.
Well, we are back. Hello, Miami Dolphin fans and draft enthusiasts. Welcome to the Fins Talk Draft Show on the clock here on FTSN. I'm Bobby Fins Talk, joined by my compadres, Josh Wingate, fresh out of Disneyland, Coach Vogel,
What's up?
fresh from watching it, celebrating the Miami loss after he was so envious of us being there.
I know.
Sitting at home.
That's right.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We got a good one today because now we can have kind of a clearer picture, maybe, of what Miami may do in the draft. Now that we got a GM and we got a coach, both from, of course, more important than GM, from the Green Bay Packers. He was there for 20 plus years. Coach was there for 2 seasons. Jeff Hafley, now the new head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Before we get into that, let's welcome the fellas. Coach Vogel, how you doing, brother?
I'm great, man. I'm great. It's love these shows. Love putting them together. A huge game last night between the Hoosiers and the Hurricanes. And then of course the hot news in Miami are the GM and the head coach. So we got quite a bit to talk about tonight.
100%. Josh, man, how are you?
I mean, I'm doing good. Fingers are burned up from hot glue guns making these. What I don't know what they are. They're like little cheer pins or whatever they are.
Spirit pins.
Yeah, there you go. So, doing good. Fresh, trying to catch up from West Coast time, but we're good here.
There you go, man. So much to talk about. Well, first off, before we get into the Dolphin news and how that impacts the NFL draft, let us go ahead and get into national championship game last night. Obviously, I'm very disappointed. My beloved Miami Hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
First off, what a season! What a playoff!
Yeah.
If these playoffs are just fun on the Indiana side, the Miami Hurricanes, like nobody thought, and Coach, you could attest to this. Like it was between Notre Dame and Miami. Mm-hmm. And when Miami got in, obviously there was some celebration, but there was a lot of people going, "No, Notre Dame should have been there." In spite of Miami beating Notre Dame,
I was crying.
Miami gets in.
Miami deserved to be in. My issue was with Alabama.
Yeah.
My issue was Alabama.
Oh, okay, I like it. All right.
Yeah, that was that. No, Miami deserved to be in, and then they went
Bobby
on the run of a
in,
lifetime. Yeah.
And went on exactly that. They went on a run of a lifetime. I mean, it was unbelievable. First Texas A&M, which was kind of like, it was fun. You win, you move to the second round, but then you go against Ohio State, who some pegged as the favorite to win national championship. You beat them in a memorable game. Then you beat Ole Miss in a memorable comeback in a game. And then you have a memorable national championship game where you were this close to winning, but the magic of Fernando Mendoza, who is projected to be the number 1 pick. He's our number 1 guy right now at quarterback. Coach, let me just ask you, man, just on Mendoza alone right now, last night, just his playoff run, but especially last night, the heroics, the way he played, I mean, this kid screams franchise quarterback, does he not?
I mean, I feel like he does. I've been watching him all year and, watching him come from behind against Penn State. Iowa played him close, and he just it seemed like every game he was pulling something out of his hat to secure the Heisman Trophy. And I mean, if you're the Vegas Raiders, why would is there any thought elsewhere than this is our guy? right? You saw Tom Brady there last night on the field in his Raiders gear. I don't know if anybody saw that. He wore
Mark Davis was there too.
Sporting some Raiders gear underneath the jacket. But yeah, he's, in my opinion, he's got to be the number 1 draft pick. Dude was balling out all year.
Yeah, no,
Fernando Mendoza, man.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about him 2 weeks ago. I think he's a really good prospect, and I was telling you all before the show, I was watching LaShawn McCoy, Emmanuel Acho talk about like who this guy is, and LaShawn McCoy was talking about how he doesn't see anyone special in him. He doesn't know how he can take the Raiders to that next level. But we're all forgetting that, and Coach kind of mentioned this as well, like Indiana is one of the worst football teams in college football, like historically.
The worst. They were the worst until 2 years ago.
And then Mendoza comes around. New coach, can't take it away from the coach because he's done a great job. But
Google
Mendoza just takes him to the next level. And like he can do that at the next level. And when I compared him to a player, Matt Ryan, I see a very Matt Ryan-esque player. He's got a big arm, willing to stay in the pocket, take the big hit.
Dear Lord, did he take some shots in the playoffs? The one against Ohio State, and then he took I think there were Signetti was not happy at halftime. He thought there were 3 cheap shots or three late hits on him that should have been called, but he got trucked underneath the chin.
He did. Yeah, could have been targeting
right? And just kind of flinched it off and got back in there and
he doesn't turn the ball over either. And it's not like he doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't nearly come close to turning the ball over. Yeah. Like Carson Beck very easily turns the ball over, and he probably gets saved a couple times on turnovers every game.
Yeah.
And this guy just doesn't even throw it in the vicinity of it. Like his ball placement is really well. He throws the comeback like no other. Like he's the next level quarterback. And like, if anyone is questioning, should he be a first round or the number 1 pick, just watch a couple games of him, watch him, how he organizes, throws the ball. His deep ball is pretty. Like he's a number 1 overall pick in this draft.
I think he threw one to the sideline. I think it was Surratt, and the only person that could catch it was Surratt. Yeah. I mean, he placed that ball perfectly, and Surratt little toe drag swag going on also. But yeah, he's putting it all together. He put together, and that was my thing. Could he? Everybody kind of talked about him coming out of Cal. You know, what was he going to look like in Signetti's offense? And wow, did he just go off?
Wow.
What's up, DSG? Russ in the house. Unfortunately, but he may be the perfect guy for Vegas. DSG, Elway did it better. Yes, Elway did it better, but it was still Elway-like, brother. Let's be real. Yeah, and I will say, if anybody had any question before, you know, even like that's my thing. We watched him. We all watched him. We got 3 games, I think, on it. You know, we'll watch more. We'll see how the draft process plays out with the scouting combine and whatever. But we all had right now, currently, we got first round grade on him. We obviously think he's going to be the number 1 pick. I think everybody has that mindset. But after watching last night's game, I think it just further validated the guy's a first round pick. You know, that he's like, if they're, you know, before even Dante Moore decided to go back to Oregon, we were saying, like, you know, this draft class ain't that great if you're thinking like a definitive quarterback. He's your one guy. Like, if you had the number 1 pick and you need a quarterback, go get him. You go get that one guy, because that's who he is. Not only is he a great player, he's a great guy. He's a great human being. He's somebody you want representing your organization. He's not going to be drama. He's going to be about his players. So it was really cool to see, and further validates him as QB1 coming out of the draft. I have to ask you guys, and this could go for Dolphins. It could not. I'm just asking as a team. Let's just say you're sitting somewhere in the draft. You're in that top 10 range, or not even top 10, maybe 11 to between 11 and 20. Maybe you're a quarterback away, or you're like, man, we just want a quarterback. Is Mendoza, do you believe in Mendoza enough? I'll start with Josh, and Coach, you come right after that. Follow right up. Is Mendoza a guy that you would say, if you have the assets to do it, would you trade up to 1 to go get him? If you could. For sure. If I'm Miami, I'm trying to figure out a way to get to number 1, because I think he is
when you go draft to draft, there isn't a guarantee in what you're going to get. And when you get a player like this at the top end of your draft, you have to go get him, or you have to make an effort for him. Like I said, Matt Ryan, like I expect him to have a Matt Ryan like career, not saying like Super Bowls and all of that, but like how he played the game,
Right.
and like the level of
Finn's
eliteness.
team.
I see that.
Yeah.
So you have to go up and try and get someone. And doesn't Miami kind of have like a, man, we should have got Matt Ryan when we had the opportunity?
I mean, I
was a Jake Long guy, but
I was too, man.
Jake
Being
Long
an
guy.
O-line
I'm a
guy,
Jake
I was a
Long guy.
Jake Long guy, but I also then
that's
you know,
like a split.
I was
Like that draft. What was
Yeah.
it? 2007 draft.
Yeah, and I was like,
Oh,
wow, we need a quarterback, but man, we need.
Well,
a
and I want
tackle
to say this
first.
too, because I know. Here's my follow-up question to that, Coach. Do you agree? Would you, if you were in that top 10 to 20 range as a team,
Yeah,
Miami, you could answer it as Miami, as Josh did, but is Mendoza good enough where you're like, yes, if I could, I would trade up and go get him and make him my franchise quarterback?
yeah. I mean, if you're a quarterback away, if you've got pieces in place, you've got wide receivers and running backs, and you're missing that quarterback, I mean, that would. I'd be pounding the table, you know, if you're a quarterback away. I think the Dolphins have too many needs, and I don't know that we're just a quarterback away. And it may be a little harder to.
We're
to
not a
do
quarterback
that.
away.
Right?
No.
We are. We
But-
need every position. We're every position.
We're
away.
not a
But
quarterback away.
if they happen to pull the trigger, and he ended up in Miami, you know, I would be woo just a little bit. But I mean,
I would say it right now. I'm going to say it
I don't
right
even
now.
know what you
obviously,
you'd have to
I-
trade Tua and Tyreek and a first-round draft pick. and-
those are two guys. I already thought about
I
that.
know. Yeah.
I would call Tom Brady. Look, man, get Tua. There's your bridge. Here's Tyreek, and here's
Yeah.
the pick 11, and let's just call it a day, bro.
Yeah.
Let's call it a day.
That's right.
You know, no, because I'll say this. Look, obviously, there's way too many needs for Miami to trade up and lose
Right.
any draft
Yeah.
capital for
Yeah.
Mendoza, and
Yeah.
I don't think Vegas will trade down either way. It's just a question, you
Right.
know. But if I'll just say this, I'm not advocating for it, but if Miami were to do that, you better freaking believe I'd be going crazy. I would be
Yeah.
ecstatic because
Oh my
I don't
God.
care how many
I mean,
needs
he
you have.
grew up what?
That's
He
your
grew up what?
franchise.
Yeah.
No, he's perfect for everything.
Oh,
He's
he
yeah.
human.
grew up a mile
he grew up in
from the
Miami. He was a
stadium.
Dolphins fan. He's the best damn
Yeah.
quarterback in college football. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
He's perfect. It's bullcrap that it's the Raiders, but it is what it is. I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, though.
Yeah.
Even though this is not a strong, quote unquote, QB class, there
Yeah.
are some guys in there that are intriguing. I was just
Yeah.
watching some
Yeah.
now. You know, obviously we don't know the situation with Trinidad out of Ole Miss. We don't know if he's going to be in or out. That's going to be a whole other.
He's in,
factor.
right? They denied him, right?
As of now, I think, but
But
they're
I-
going to do a
they-
what do you call a
they-
appeal.
Yeah, they did
Okay.
deny it, but he was trying to go another avenue or whatever to
Yeah.
get in there.
Yeah.
So we're just waiting on that. But you know, there's other names out there that we're going to talk about besides Trinidad. You know, of course, we talked about Drew Alar, Ty Simpson's still in there, but guys lower. You know, one name that intrigues me when you look at his size. I was just watching film on him before. I was watching the receivers. You guys are going to discuss. So I watched some of their film. But there was one guy that I was like, I saw his size, I saw everything. I was like, damn, I want to look at him. Looked at his numbers, not so bad. Sawyer Robertson out of Baylor, 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", 220. You know, big arm, athletic.
Yeah.
He's not the most accurate guy. When the play breaks down, you know, there's a reason
Yeah.
why he's so low. But or you know, he's not on the top or whatever. But that's an intriguing option later on in the draft that we could be talking about. So there's a lot of options at quarterback if Miami did want to just get one and then aim towards next year to go higher. But let's see, Russ Morgan, who will join us eventually here on the clock with you know on some shows. Great guy, covers baseball and covered the college football this season for us on College Blitz. But he says he's done, denied twice, not happened. He can be in the Ole Miss said he's going to sue. They're going to sue the NCAA. Sammy of Fins TV and Fins Talk today here on FTSN says send the 11th pick and more to the Raiders for the number 1 overall pick. Raiders trade for Lamar. Ravens get a quarterback. There you go. Sammy has it. We'll send the 11th overall pick. Get the number 1. We'll trade him some more assets. They go get Lamar. We get Mendoza. I'm happy, brother. Yes,
Yeah,
and
that would. I'd take that.
There you go. And Miami
Mensa.
University of Miami's about to get Mensa, which out of Duke. So we'll see on that. DSG says I'm keeping Tua and Cheetah. There you go. There goes DSG. Let's see here. Want to make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. So let us go ahead and let me drop me here because the screen does not want to work. But anyway, Miami does have some news. Miami was not the Dolphins. We're not going to wait till the national championship to go ahead and get their new coach.
No.
After hiring Jon-Eric Sullivan, who I think all of us were in favor of, it was one of the top names we discussed and was on the top of for our list for GM. They hired Jon-Eric Sullivan, who has a long tenured history with the Green Bay Packers. And let me just say, on words alone, obviously actions matter more than words, but on words alone, he is saying all the right things. And let me make sure here. Am I the only one hearing that? Yeah, I was wondering what that was. It sounded like a bowl or something.
It might be my dog.
Oh, okay. I wonder. I was like, what was that? I'm like, I thought it was me. I was like, what's a glitch? There's a glitch. Anyway, so sorry. No, it's Coach. It's all right, Coach. But Jon-Eric Sullivan, we're gonna get into some of the stuff he was saying. And you mean if you obviously actions speak louder than words, but his words have been on the money. If like we've discussed for 3 years now, however long we've been talking to each other, Coach Josh, how we would build a team, what's more important, the trenches, physicality, whatever. He comes in and he's like, I've been watching these guys for years. I'm just gonna say what they say. It's like, whoa, so really cool. And then Miami, we talked about, they bring in Troy Aikman to be a part of this advisory panel for GM and coach. So, and then they go out, they cast a wide net for coaches. Majority of Dolphins wanted Harbaugh. They wanted an experienced coach. I wanted an experienced coach. But because there's a new GM, I started softening up on a new coach because it's not like, if it was Chris Greer, I'm as pissed as everybody else, or the majority of fans all, fake mad. Oh, man, Dolphins suck. Oh, they got another rookie coach. I would be mad too if it was Chris Greer. But because it's a rookie general manager, he got his guy.
Yep.
And it's not a guy, that's his buddy. He's only been with him for 2 years. He's familiar with him, but they also didn't just interview him. They interviewed a bunch of other people. And guess what? It wasn't just the Dolphins who were in on this guy. He was a hot commodity around the league. This wasn't Mike McDaniel, where the only team that interviewed Mike McDaniel 4 years ago was the Miami Dolphins. Nobody was bitching then. Nobody had an issue then. When he was the only one. I love him. I love the way he looks in pictures and how he talks to Tua.
He's a cool guy.
He's a cool dude. But because of a haircut, Highway Patrol haircut, because he's not the experienced coach, or he's not a coach that you like to look at, it's a big issue. No, this was the right move by the Miami Dolphins. You get Jon-Eric Sullivan, you let him go get his guy. They didn't just interview one guy or two guys. They interviewed a whole wide net of guys. But they said it. He impressed really early on in the interview process. The Raiders wanted him. The Titans were good. The Titans, I think, settled on Saleh. And I like Saleh. But I think they settled on Saleh because they wanted Hafley. Miami knew that. He was supposed to be here today.
Well, I think that's what they're saying. Like every coach, they were supposed to go to Tennessee the next day.
Every time. So they finally said, no, we're not letting Saleh leave the building. And Tennessee took him. So
ours.
I haven't heard from you guys in regards to Sully and Hafley now as the GM and coach. So I'm going to start with Coach because you are a Dolphins fan, and Josh by marriage, who's a Dallas fan, but we'll leave him for last. Looking all professional and buff there, trying to look big with his forearms. I see you, Chief. But Coach, my man, what do you think of this hire for GM and head coach of the Miami Dolphins?
I love it. And the reason I love it is because you look at the Green Bay Packers, and they are a very solid team that drafts superior every year, which, is – I don't know. I can't even I think I saw a stat that said the whole 22-23 draft class for Miami is completely gone. Something crazy like that, where, they've drafted like 33. They've got 33, or they had 33 picks. I don't remember the exact detail, but they draft very well, and they draft young, and they they bring him up in their system, and it stays that way. He doesn't want mercenaries. He doesn't want to do what Miami's been doing, which is bringing in injured guys and giving them a 1-year deal and, you know, trying to win that way. It didn't work for 25 years. So for him to come in and say, we want to kind of build from the inside out, offensive, defensive line, and, you know, build through the draft, I think that is kind of what we've been saying all along. You know, to be able to build it the right way, and it's not an overnight fix. I don't think they're expecting Super Bowl next year, as much as nice as that would be. But I think, you know, they've got a good plan in place, and I think, you know, him bringing Hafley on is, he knows him, and and again, like I was that guy when they first announced him. He was on the bottom of my list because I didn't know much about him outside of being a DC and Green Bay. And so I kind of forced myself to go kind of research him, you know, what happened here, you know, all the different coaching positions he's coached. And then, you know, actually being at Boston College before the NIL stuff went in, and having to kind of make it through, you know, was it 2 or 3 years at Boston College, and then being able to, you know, understand that, hey, I want to get in the pros, I'm going to need to take a step down. You know, I'm not necessarily going to be a head coach when I go to the pros, but just kind of work his way up, man. He's got all kinds of experience. He's worked with almost every position group, and people are just fired up. You know, I think Richard Sherman had a big, big positive thing to say on him and stuff like that. So, what's his name from Dallas that they traded for? We don't talk about him. He who shall remain nameless.
Micah Parsons.
Micah said that he's a good dude. So we'll see. I'm gonna go in with open eyes and open arms and accept them in until they give me a reason not to.
Wow.
So very quick, Dolphins hire Jeff Hafley as head coach. GM Sully, Jon-Eric Sullivan, what he said about the coach is, I'm thrilled to go on this journey with him, and together we will build a winner that this organization deserves. Coach, you're right on too in regards of how they're going to build this. And, you know, it's not going to be some overnight fix. You never know. Things happen, right? I mean, random. So, you know, you look at Houston, but again, it's not expected to. I know a lot of people go, oh, they'll get a quarterback this year. We're going to wait on next year. That's everybody else's draft plan. However, listening to the way not Jeff Hafley yet, but just based off what we've heard and what we've seen in press conferences prior to the Dolphins, but what Sully has said, these are not guys that I think they're going to be like, yeah, let's try to lose every game next year. No, these guys are going to try to win. They're going to try to build smart. They're not thinking about overspending on a quarterback or over drafting on a player because he's some star. These are guys who are going to try to get players that fit their system, BPA at that point in time. You know, again, build the trenches. He said from the inside out with the quarterback position, went like this, the most important. So, but very quick before we get into Sully, Josh, your thoughts on Jeff Hafley as the new head coach of the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, and I mean, my opinion's kind of play with Sully, but I think it's a right hire because with a new GM, and you kind of played into this a little bit, with a new GM, a new head coach, the comfortability between the two and understanding, okay, as a GM, I know the type of guys that my head coach wants. I know the type of defensive players that my head coach wants. So it gives that comfortability. Hafley did a really good job in Green Bay. He had a lot of expectations with him because he had really good talent. They just traded for Micah Parsons. And that defense showed up. So I think he deserved a head coaching gig somewhere. And I believe that this is the perfect marriage between two because it gives a new GM comfortability around what he can do with building the roster and things of that nature.
So just talking on this very quick with Jon-Eric Sullivan and Josh, I'll let you go and follow up after I read this. Just, some of the things he was saying, I'll get through it here, are our division in regards to what type of players he's looking for. Coach kind of brought this up a little bit, but, our division runs through cold weather teams. It starts with the quarterback, and then we build from the inside out. We got to be dominant on the offensive line and dominant on the defensive line. Also saying we're going to draft and develop and retain our own. It's important to us that we raise our own because that's the culture. That's culture. We don't want a team full of mercenaries. That creates problems. Another point brought up a little just earlier. So, Josh, you see this, you hear this, you're familiar with what Green Bay has done over the years. What do you envision? What are you getting from this in regards of Miami Dolphins draft philosophy going forward with Jon-Eric Sullivan as GM?
Yeah, and this is very similar to like how the Cowboys look at building their roster. We're going to go through the draft. We'll go to free agency and find guys that can fill our roster, but not guys that are going to be top tier end guys unless we find the right fit. So I see that being the philosophy moving forward. The one thing I believe is going to be big when we're looking at positions of need is walk into a position group and say, am I comfortable with this position group from the top bottom? If I am not, we're looking to find someone to then elevate this position group. It's not just, hey, we need a new starter. We need this. We need to fill the top of our roster. Sully is going to look at building a room, not a starting group. So running back room. Hey, how do we feel about that? We feel really good about our top tier guy. The guys under it, maybe not so much. We have a lot of question marks there. So I wouldn't put running back out of the equation for this. But like you also said, like we've been talking about this for quite some time. I love the conversation of cold weather because yes, Miami goes to cold weather a lot. They have to play in it. And who better than to be able to evaluate cold weather guys because, hey, you came from Green Bay. That's pretty cold up there. I love the way Green Bay fills their roster and the way they build their roster. So it's going to be fun to watch that happen in Miami.
Coach?
Yeah, the one part that I think I've been wanting forever and I've always told people that if I were the GM, like I want to build my team to beat the people in my division, right? Yep. And damn Buffalo is freezing cold up there and New England's freezing cold and New York is freezing cold. And, you know, we need to be able to put people in place that weather is not a factor for them, right? When we get into the talk of your quarterback being and whatever in cold weather games, like that's not an object. That's not an option anymore. Like it's got to be, we're gonna be able to steamroll through warm weather, cold weather, sleety weather, hazy weather, foggy weather, whatever weather, without the mercenaries.
Wow, I would have never.
Go ahead, Josh.
I would have never thought this guy was from South Carolina. He looks such like a New Jersey guy. He looks just New Jersey all over.
So, no, but that's the thing. A lot of this stuff, again, seeing is believing, but everything he's saying again sounds all about right. I mean, again, yes, Miami is South Florida, but you put your division, which is important to win or compete in every year, is all North teams. They're all, cold weather teams that you should have guys ready to play. You brought up the running backs room. We bring up the offensive line. Talk about some of the guys that he mentioned by name. He brought up Devon Achane, Patrick Paul, Jordan Brooks, Jalen Waddle. Let me see if I missed any, but I'm trying to think. I don't want to. Aaron Brewer. Those are the five guys. He said like these are guys that we could build on or build upon. Build this team around. Coach, you hear that? What are your thoughts on that? Because I know some people go, maybe he's trying to sell them to other teams. Do you think that's the case, or do you think this is he's actually looking at these guys and saying, no, these are guys we could build around, build upon, like Patrick Paul, who was solid this year. Austin Jackson more than likely could be a casualty.
Yeah.
Somebody brought in the comments, Francis Marigola from Miami, the OT, could be a pick at 11 for Miami if he's there. strongly so, especially if people it's that important. Savaneo, who I liked, he was my number one guy last year in the offensive line. He struggled this season, but again, he was on the left side. I believe he's more comfortable on the right side. That's where they should move him. But all in all, so you hear about the top 5 guys. Is there anybody missing? Do you think there's, or like the Jalen Waddle's a guy who I still think could be a good player for the Dolphins, but I don't know if he's not that 1A guy. He's more like that 2, and I'm not confident even then. I do think wide receiver is a realistic possibility for the Dolphins at any point in the draft.
Right.
I'm talking from 11 on, so forth, depending on who's sitting there. So are there any guys that surprised you that he mentioned, or are there any guys that you thought, man, I wondered if this guy's still going to be here next season, that you were surprised he didn't mention?
I was surprised he didn't mention Sealer on defense, right? Like he's one of them that I was like, oh, that's kind of the heart and soul of the defenses, or the defensive line anyway. But you know, I was glad that he said Paul and Brewer. I think those 2 are safe. I don't think you're going to come in and you're going to completely wipe out a whole entire offensive line to rebuild it, right? If Patrick Paul's doing a decent job and Brewer, I think people had him graded as the best center, if not the best center, the top 3, one of the top 3 best centers in the NFL. Like there's pieces there that you can work with. But yeah, that Austin Jackson experiment, get rid of him. But yeah, there were a couple guys on defense that I was surprised that didn't get, but Brooks was one that I'm glad that he had he mentioned him, because that dude's a beast and I want him to stay around.
Josh, your thoughts on the 5 guys mentioned? Is there any one guy that you or any couple guys that you were surprised they didn't mention? I agree. Zach Sealer not being mentioned rose an eyebrow. Doesn't mean I think they're done with him. It's just it is an easy thing to pick off. Fitzpatrick, another guy I think there's one thing about Hafley in regards of his defense. I hope he delegates his play calls. I hope he delegates defense and offense and is the head coach. But we'll wait and see. But they do use 3 safeties a lot in his defense. So Fitzpatrick, I think, will thrive under a Hafley defense. Sure. So, but Josh, your thoughts on the 5 guys mentioned and anybody who was not mentioned?
The one thing that threw me off is like not mentioning these young players. Like, A-Chain's a young player, but you just drafted Chop Robinson, you just drafted Kenneth Grant, like kind of talking them up a little bit. As far as like, I really think we have some young talent that can elevate us. Jordan Brooks is insane. He's going to be the heart and soul of this defense, it looks like. But I'm curious, like we didn't see a lot of young guys get mentioned. So where does he feel like these guys fit? Because there's no alliance of these players on this roster at all to him.
Right. No,
so
0.
But I agree with you. Like looking at the roster, I was trying to look at like the makeup and what Green Bay looks at for talent, like from top bottom. And like Minka really fits that profile that they look for at that safety level. Chop Robinson actually, as like a defense end, fits that role really well. So that can be interesting. And I feel like they really have between Sealer and Grant, like that real profile of defensive tackle, or 3 tech, 1 tech that they really like with a Green Bay defense. So it could be interesting. But yeah, I would love for him to have talked more about like the young guys that are on this roster.
No, it's a good point, but the point of I would just add on to that you just said as well, and I don't think him not mentioning any specific player. There's you could probably attack. He didn't mention Tua. We all figured Tua might be out the door anyway. But Chop Robinson, Kenneth Grant, I don't think that means they're going to get rid of those guys.
Yeah.
But that could be like a sign, like, hey, we have no connection to you. We could move you. And that's one thing I will say. Again, I really don't think that they're going to totally strip down this team so it could be bare bones like they thought with the Brian Flores era, where they thought they were going to tank for Tua, which they did, but you know what I'm saying? Like we're going to tank for Burrow and try to get one of these guys. I do not foresee this GM and this coach settling for losses. I see them, they may trim this team in order to kind of plug and play their guys and who fits their system. And it might not win right away, but I don't see like, oh, they're going to, don't draft the quarterback because we got a whole big quarterback class next year. I don't think they're seeing it that way.
No.
They may look at target some guys and they may be aggressive and get draft picks so they could trade up next season for a specific guy. But if whoever they're going to get, they're going to get. And I don't think any guy they didn't mention means that they're going to get rid of them, but I do think it puts them on notice, especially someone like a Zach Sealer who you could move, a Bradley Chubb who you could move or get rid of. So, and Tyreek Hill, they didn't mention Tyreek Hill. So we will go ahead and see. Daniel
Bobby,
is
there any?
Go ahead.
Bobby, is there anybody that is, if they move, like, wow, I didn't really want him to be gone.
All right, let me just ask this. You say yes or no, because I just want to make sure I got it. Did you ask, because you were breaking up real bad? Did you ask like, is there any player that they would move that I don't want them to move?
Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry, I don't know. Forgive me. You were breaking up real bad there, Coach. So
am I still breaking up bad?
Yeah, right now, yeah, you're breaking up pretty bad right there. No, you're good, man. It happens. It's live, bro. So is there any one guy, I assume this is what you're asking, if there's any one guy that they would move that I wouldn't want them moving, or that I would kind of scratch my head? Well, first off, the obvious would be, I know they kind of joked about it yesterday on their show, Devon Achane. That would be mind-boggling. No. But if there was one guy like that they didn't mention that could be moved that I would like, maybe Minka, just because, even though I would understand it, Minka, just because he would be very successful in a Hafley defense. And that type of defense, especially with the safeties and everything else and the way you can move him around, I would say that for sure. That would probably be the case, because I think, you already have him. I think, and safety becomes a real option for Miami at 11 or in round 2 for sure. So hopefully that answers your question. Daniel, this is a big season for Chop. He regressed this year. If Bailey is there at 11, it could be interesting. Daniel, you're 100% right. This is my thing again. Talked about D-line, talked about O-line with Jon-Eric Sullivan. But this is one thing people don't understand, because they say, oh, we need this one specific position. First of all, it's BPA. But don't sleep on edge rusher at all, even with Chop, because Bradley Chubb is more likely out the door. Jalen Phillips is already gone. Chop Robinson did struggle this season, and that happens, but still he did. And some question his heart and all this, whatever. We'll see. He had a decent first season, not so good second season. But Bailey at 11, if he sit David Bailey, absolutely he should be considered. If Ruben Bain is there, which I highly doubt, but if he's somehow, some way there, run to the podium. So Daniel's absolutely right. It is a big season for Chop, but absolutely Miami could be looking at 11 for an edge rusher. Dolphins thirsty. Rob in the house, curious on how Sullivan and Hafley answer the inevitable Tua question on Thursday. My bet is that the guy with some standard response that they are still evaluating the roster or something else. Sure. I mean, because I think they have to figure out if they're going to trade him, are they going to cut him, or is they going to make him their bridge guy? Because a lot of people are go ahead.
He's a bridge guy. Like, I don't think they're afraid to have a quarterback making big money and then draft a quarterback and letting that quarterback sit. That's their MO as a Green Bay executive. They don't mind having that, and it's financially smarter to keep him for this year and get rid of him next year. So I think you open it up. Exactly. You have a completely open competition for this quarterback room. You go and draft a guy, you have yours, and then you have Tua on the roster as well, a veteran that can do whatever you want with, but he's here on the roster. And again, you're not paying him $50 million to be on another team.
Yeah. And see, so I want to say, first off, the day 2026, first time in. Thanks for your time, fellas. Thank you for tuning in, brother. Appreciate you stopping in here, and hopefully you stick with us and you subscribe to the channel, because we're here all off season and beyond, bro. So appreciate you here joining us for the first time. I think you're right, Josh. Again, I understand, because obviously we know Denver did it. We understand it's happened before. And again, I'll be okay with either answer, or either final answer by those guys. Because I think for me, you have him already in place. You know, yes, he's not your guy moving forward. We know that. However, you're going to pay, if you cut him, how much is that going to cost you? You know that, if he put him in a quarterback battle, let him compete. If you draft a guy or it's Quinn Ewers, let them compete in the preseason. If he loses out the battle, let him go ahead and be the backup, and you're safe because whenever he comes in, you got a decent backup there, and you're not losing any money. You get rid of him next year. That's my preference. But if Hafley and Sullivan go in there and, they watch Tua's film or they talk to Tua and Tua's like, no, I need to be the starter. I prefer to go somewhere else. And they go, okay, we're just going to have to figure this out, trade him, cut him post June 1st. I'll be okay with that too, because that's their decision. But I prefer let him be the bridge, let him be the backup next season, draft or go in with Quinn Ewers and then ride it out for the year. One of those options. Coach. Oh, sorry, Coach Jake. You're muted, Coach. Says your mic is not connected. Professionalism, sir. No, just we need a coach for Coach. We'll wait for Coach. It's all right, Coach. Don't stress, brother. There you are. I think you're there now.
Yeah.
You can't hear or not?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Back out.
We can hear you now. We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Well, we'll put that aside right now.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, Coach.
Stop touching things. All right, what was the question again? Let me try it. Let me try this again.
Just your because Rob Dolphins Thirsty brought up the question about how Sullivan and Hafley might answer on Tua's how Tua's future here in Miami. Josh said that he's the bridge guy. He should be the bridge guy because of the hit on the contract. What are your thoughts on that? Would you be opposed to him coming back or them cutting him at all? Or you just let them make that decision? Or you're like, no, I'd strictly get rid of him?
I mean, I'll they're with him being the GM, they're going to make the decision, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of, the one thing about being the bridge quarterback is
Evan's here right on time.
Yes, thank you.
When everything goes to hell for Coach, here comes Evan.
Right. But they may want to just be done with him, like as much as we want a bridge quarterback or him to be a bridge quarterback, they may just want to completely have a fresh start for the fan base and everything else. I mean, he'd look awfully good in that purple and gold up there in Minnesota playing indoors.
Fair enough.
But looking at if you were to just straight up cut him before June 1st,
you're going to be,
it's $99 million that you're going to have to pay him.
Yeah.
In 2026. If you were to trade him before June 1st, it's $45 million of a dead cap.
Yeah.
You do have $11 million in savings, but who wants to pay a player that's not on your team $45 million? They're rich.
So business-wise,
have a lot of money.
So
but they're not that rich.
Right. Business-wise, it would make sense to keep him and
for sure.
And still, regardless, battle out. I wouldn't give him anything, right? Like you get to camp and you battle it out with whichever quarterbacks are on the roster.
He has to fight for his job. If he wants a starting job,
1,000%.
He has to compete. There's no giving.
Get rid of Zach
You're
Wilson.
still showing up to our office every day to earn that money, but I'm not getting rid of him for $45 million. If you were to release him post June 1st, that's $67.4 million in 2026 of dead cap. And $31.8 million in 2027.
Right.
So again, paying him $99 million not to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the most realistic option is a trade post June 1st, which would be $13.4 million in 2026 and $31.8 million in 2027. Where you're saving in 2026 $43 million, which is amazing.
Right.
Would love to do that. But again, you're paying someone $40-some million not to be on your team anymore. I would rather just keep him for one more year, make him work. You have someone that's been there, done that. Mm-hmm. He has experience. He's a veteran in the league. He can be your backup, what have you. And then you got that potential out in 2027 where you can just cut ties with him.
So there you go. So as we continue here on my Finn's Talk Draft Show on the clock here on FTSN, covering the Dolphins draft and the new head coach, new GM, new draft philosophy. But, Tyreek was not mentioned by Sully. More than likely he's gone either way. He may, if they figure out a way to bring him back, hey, you know what? Their choice. And he is still one of the better receivers in the league when he's focused. But if he's not, even if he does come back, I think receiver is an option at any point in this draft because eventually he's going to be gone and Jalen Waddle is all over the place. So let me just ask before we get into our specific receivers, and we'll talk more too. I didn't want to say we're talking 3 guys today, but throughout the offseason, we're going to talk more guys, just like we're going to talk quarterbacks, running backs, offensive line, defensive line, edge rushers, safeties, which is very important for this coach and GM. But let's go ahead and talk. Oops. I noticed I put Carnell Tati. No, it's Carnell Tate. Thinking about the wife, apparently. Sorry.
This was a late night creation.
Yeah, bro. My man.
Hey-o.
I was like, oh, hey, babe, I'll be right over. Give me a minute. This could wait. No. But let me just ask you guys this. Coach, I'll start with you. This wide receiver class, like there are questions about the QB class, but you look at this wide receiver class, where does it stand with you? Is it a strong class in your opinion?
I mean, by looking at the names that you have listed there, I do think it's a strong receiver class. Some of the guys, like for instance Malachi Fields, that came to Notre Dame, I think from Virginia. He, in my opinion, his stock went up playing at Notre Dame, and that just means that he could be a day 2 or 3 guy. But I do think that there's a lot of guys on here, and some of them will even go over. But there's some big names on here. Big names on here, like Carnell Tate, Jacoby Lane from USC, Brazel from Tennessee. And then of course my guy from Indiana, Elijah Surratt. So yeah, and then I think the other wide receiver from IU, Cooper, I think he's draft eligible this year too. So yeah, there's some good names out there.
So let me just get this because Evan is texting and chatting, and Sammy now put it in there. So right now, the news from Tom Pelissero: the Chargers plan to hire Mike McDaniel as their offensive coordinator. McDaniel is still a candidate for the Raiders and Ravens head coaching jobs, but if McDaniel is an OC in 26, it is expected to be in LA.
Wow.
Just for these guys, because only a couple seconds.
Chargers.
It's not confirmed yet.
Yeah.
So if no deal has been signed, a head coaching spot could still materialize, but the OC job Mike McDaniel, is with Herbert in LA. So he did withdraw from the Browns head coaching job, which makes sense. Again, I think when you have the possibility of the Ravens and what was the other team I just said? My brain. It was another team, but anyway, the Ravens job for sure is still on the table there. Absolutely. You would think that he would wait on those and see if he would get them. He did interview for him.
How interesting.
The Raiders job. Raiders. Thank you, Evan.
How interesting that he goes from the Dolphins with Tua to Chargers with Herbert. Yeah, with the big.
But it's smart, right? Because imagine if he goes, look, if I would have I got another quarterback. I'm stuck with Tua. Now look what I can do. But if you go, he goes under John Harbaugh, works with John Harbaugh in another type of system with Justin Herbert, and if he has a great year next year as an OC, it's an automatic tie-in to a better job next year. But again, if he could go to the Raiders with Fernando Mendoza. Well, but then again, you're the head coach at that point. But again, you got a new stadium, great players, Ashton Genty, whatever, to win. But if you go to the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, for me, I would say yes. Let me see if I don't get any of these jobs, I'll be your OC. Smart move by Mike McDaniel. We'll see how that plays out. Jim Harbaugh, thank you. If I said John Harbaugh, I mean,
and I think it's smart for him to go outside of his family tree, right? Like
100%.
He could have easily go back with Shanahan or one of those guys that kind of fall in line with what he does, but I think it would be smart if he's not going to get a head coaching job to go with somebody outside of that so he can get valuable experience and see how a Jim Harbaugh runs a team and kind of the makeup and break up from there.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, it would be, it'd be a smart get. I still, with him I think him as an OC with like the Ravens, I think would be incredible. Just I think things that he could do with Lamar and King Henry back there.
Yeah.
If he
entire offense,
if he could figure out how to get A-Chain rolling downhill, right? Like there's still some good juice left in Henry. So
we'll wait and see what happens with Coach McDaniel if he goes to the Chargers or if he does get a head coaching job. But it looks like the OC job that he's going to pick will be with LA, but he's still waiting on the head coaching job. So not official yet, fellas. Not official yet, but thank you for throwing the news out here. There you go, Sammy. Trade Tyreek to the Chargers and end it. There you go. That's it. Josh, I'm sorry if I interrupted you, sir. Your thoughts on this wide receiver class before we get into some of the receivers we're going to highlight.
Yeah, so I think this is a really good class of receivers. I think we're in a group year after year that's just a really good group, especially when it's highlighted by a receiver from Ohio State. Yeah. Ohio State is just like they just put out receivers.
Yeah.
And then there's guys not even listed here that are really good. You have Zachariah Branch, who is he wasn't utilized to his full potential in Georgia. He is some guy. He has speed. He has the ability to break open plays. Like he could be a star player coming out of this draft, and people today are looking at him as day 2, day 3 kind of guy, just because he wasn't utilized. So I think this draft class of receivers is really good. There's going to be a lot of talent. I believe that's Zachariah Branch in the photo. I missed that one. But there's just really good talent in this draft that you don't have to go day 1 and get a receiver. Yeah, there's some really good talent at the top, but you can also find some really good talent at the bottom as well.
100%. And Russ, why don't you just go ahead and tell us who your number 1 guy is? Is it Zachariah Branch? I just put I just started throwing names from our list. And because I was, I'm just in the middle of the night, I'm doing everything at once, brother. It's like, but is it Branch, Russ? Well, you didn't put your number 1 receiver. Keep talking about it, Scotty. Scotty, what's up, Scotty? Brazil is a monster. He is lemon. Interesting, man. What the heck?
I don't even know.
Makai Lemon out of USC. Okay, there you go. Didn't Green Bay not really draft receivers? They did though. They have drafted receivers. Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs. They drafted Matthew Golden recently. Then it's not something that they actively do all the time, but they have. They're Jordy. There's all these type of names.
I think the big.
Great to see you here though.
I think the big issue was first round wide receivers.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the big issue was Green Bay
Matthew Golden was the 20th in the 20th.
Yeah.
Round, but this would be
so they draft wide receivers, but not necessarily first round wide receivers.
Yeah. No. So I could see a wide receiver in the 3rd. Yeah. Again, I'm with you, Scotty. I think receiver in this 3rd, and I'll be honest with you. I think 3rd is a realistic. I think 2nd round is a possibility as well. 3rd round, I could see a quarterback, depending on who's there. Depending on who's sitting there in the 3rd round for Miami. But let's get into it, guys. We got some receivers here. We're catching up on the hour. We'll start off with Coach. Excuse me, not alone. We'll start off with Josh. Josh's guys up there first. Talk about Brazil is a monster. Brazil's right here. Brazil of Tennessee. Man, I loved watching this kid.
6'5", 200, man.
I know, big body guy. So again, I went back and I looked at what's the makeup of the players that Green Bay traditionally drafts and at what position. So for an X receiver, they look somewhere between 6 foot, 6'5", 195, 225, with a little speed, 4.35 to 4.55 speed in there. Z, they're looking at 5'10 to 6'3. they like bigger bodied guys, but hey, they're not afraid of the smaller guys as long as they pop. And then the Y 5'9", 6'1", 180. So I'm looking at these positions, trying to fit the skill set and the size of the player to, okay, what currently is on Miami's roster and where do they fit? And the one position that looked completely empty, other than potentially Crawcraft, is the X number one receiver up there. So I was like, let's go. If we're going to look at a player, let's look at number one guy. So I looked at Chris Brazil and really like what I saw out of this guy. Tennessee, watched the Georgia game on him. I would like to watch a couple more games. I have him as a high second round grade, but I have him as a big athletic outside receiver who brings real vertical playmaking ability. He's been used in both the X and Z at Tennessee and shows the movement skills and body control to handle multiple alignments. Once the ball is in his hand, he has the balance and burst to create explosive plays, and he is at his best working down the field. He tracks the ball very well, has reliable hands, and his size makes him a natural red zone target. As a route runner, he's solid but still developing. He doesn't show a full route tree on film, and part of that appears to be how Tennessee structures its offense. On some snaps, he's running full concepts, while others on the field, it's clearly they're looking at splitting the field in half. So you're seeing him not run routes on some plays. He's just kind of being a decoy out there, essentially. One thing I did see is he doesn't consistently separate, whether it's during his route or when the ball is in the air. The one thing I really liked, and to talk about a player that did this really well, Devontae, what is it? Wide receiver for the Eagles. Help me out here.
Green? No.
So, I'll just say
Smith?
this about Chris Brazil.
Devontae Smith?
Yeah, Devontae Smith.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so Devontae Smith, he really separated when the ball was in the air. He was a guy that stayed close, but once that ball hit the air, he got 5 yards separation in him. I don't see that with Brazil, or however you say it, which he has more contested opportunities, but big body guy, he's able to box him out, get the ball. At the catch point, Brazil plays tough, isn't afraid to get the football. With that said, there are moments where he could do a better job using his length, as he'll occasionally let the ball get into his body instead of fully extending. Even so, he has good hands and ball tracking. He stands out with that, especially on deep throws. He also brings value outside of the passing game. Brazil's willing. He's a willing blocker who plays selflessly and does what's asked of him to help the offense function. Overall, I think he profiles as a big vertical outside receiver with ball skills who can create big plays with separation, consistency, and route expansions being the main areas to watch as he continues to develop.
So I'll just say very quick. This guy, high upside, again, guys at his size, the way he moved, I haven't seen a guy his side move like that. There was like, he's quick with the cuts. His route tree ain't so great. He's not a finished product whatsoever. But if you get him in third round, or you even reach the second round, like this is a guy who's gonna get better every year. He's a high upside wide receiver, man. He's a
bigger version of George Pickens.
Yes, absolutely. And he is a, like you said, if you look at Green Bay receivers, like you think Christian Watson size wise, he fits that mold.
Yep.
He fits that mold, and that's what we've been banging the table for as Dolphin fans. Big body wide. He's not big body, he's 200 pounds, but big wide receivers. He's that guy. Yeah. I really loved watching him. I saw the Georgia game too, and I'm like
3-4 touchdowns, right?
Who is that, bro? I'm like, what is this? What are we doing? Coach, your thoughts on Brazil, man?
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying that, the bigger wide receivers. He's got a little Devontae Adams-esque look to him, which we all know how Green Bay did when he was there. So, anything is an option at this point. I definitely see some potential there.
Yeah, I would not hate at all if Miami came away in this draft with Brazil, or however you say his last name. But
yeah, I think when we're looking, and sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
When we're looking at the Tyreek Hill, I don't think he's on this roster going forward. Like there's been a lot of off the field issues.
Yep.
I think he's gone. So you're looking at the makeup. You need that big body guy. I think Jalen Waddle, he's going to be a really good Z in this offense moving forward. That outside receiver that kind of plays off. He can kind of move and switch around, play in the slot and all of that. And then you have a bunch of Ys currently on this offense, slot receivers. So you need that big body. This is someone that, I mean, I think teams are going to potentially fall in love with the size, what George Pickens did, and see, okay, I might be able to get that. He might skyrocket up boards. It's going to really depend.
I'm nervous with that.
Without the behavioral issues, didn't Pickens have some?
I think Pickens is very competitive. That's his issue. He's overly competitive. He doesn't have off the field issues. He has on the field issues.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
And so, I like if this guy is available late in the draft, like if you're watching him fall, like this is a guy I'm willing to trade up for in the first round and get him at the end of the first round.
I'll tell you what, again, we just talked about this class. There are a few guys in this draft class that you're like, man, if you could get him and come away with him and you know what? He's not a finished product, right?
No.
But you think what he did with Aguilar last year, you saw what he did with Tennessee. Again, you talk about that Georgia game. This is a guy that, like, if you're waiting a year to actually trade up for a QB and you could get this guy, give him a year to be in your system. You're not expecting you're not expecting some big year out of your team anyway. He grows and gets some game minutes. No. And then you got him developed for 1 year. And then when you go get your rookie guy, he'll be your best friend, your best receiver, because he's going to be ready. He already has a year in. He's that type of guy. Are we thinking Malik Willis will be in the QB mix? Obviously, because of the connection with
overpay for him, though. That's
Sullivan and that's where the line gets drawn. Because if they sign Malik Willis, I'm going to tell you guys this. If they do it, which I think we're fans of Malik Willis, right? We like him coming out of the draft.
Loved him.
I'll just say, and I think, again, his character, he's a great dude. I think he'll be a good bridge quarterback if you decide to move on from Tua. I'll just say, if they do sign Malik Willis, then Miami's showing that they're not looking to lose. They're trying to do their best to win within their system. Now,
I disagree. Like,
okay,
we don't know what Malik Willis has. I think you're adding another guy to compete in this quarterback class. And like I said, they like to build rooms. They don't like to find those missionaries like you talked about. So I think they're building that
banging
room.
the table for Aaron Rodgers. Calm down there, DSG. Sorry, Josh.
And competing. I was a huge, like, I know Brett on yesterday's show was saying like he and I were Malik Willis fans. I'm going to alleviate Brett from that because he was going against me with Malik Willis. I thought Malik Willis was the guy. Like watching him off platform, watching him being able to throw the ball effortlessly. I was a Malik Willis truther. And I still think like there's those elements to him. He just came from a small school, had a really bad head coach. And I felt like he needed to sit and learn. I think he has learned. If you don't pay this guy enough, he's someone that can come in and compete. Ewers, Willis, and Tua. I feel comfortable with that room at this moment. As far as like, hey, go into training camp. We'll come out with the best guy, and he's going to be the starter.
Right.
But
you can't pay him too much because then you got three guys competing, and you're paying them two of the three a shit ton of money.
Yep.
I mean, unless you decide to, you're still going to have to pay a crap ton of money to Tua either way.
That's
but unless you decidedly just cut him,
Right. Which is, it could happen.
It could happen. We'll see. But let's go ahead and move on to our second wide receiver spotlight here. Elijah Surratt, Indiana national champion now. Coach.
National champion. Hoosiers. 6'2", 209. 62 receptions, 802 yards, 15 tutties. And he came over with that JMU crew that came over to IU. This dude just catches the football. He's not going to hit you with fireworks off the bus, but by fourth quarter, he's the guy still quietly moving the sticks and winning downs. A technician at heart, clean, crisp routes with purpose at every stem. Surratt understands how to get where he needs to be without wasted movement. He catches the football the way coaches love, strong hands, clean transitions, and zero drama. The ball doesn't end up on the ground with him, and turnovers simply aren't part of his resume. Speed-wise, he's not a breakaway threat. He's not gonna blaze you with his 40. But he will do is when leverage, create just enough separation and sit right in the quarterback window, third and medium. That's his neighborhood. Chain mover who understands spacing, timing, and trust. Surratt really separates himself in the dirty work. He takes pride in blocking on the perimeter, getting his hands on defensive backs, taking smart angles and finishing plays, savvy enough to sell route concepts before snapping into a block, freezing defenders just long as spring a run, and the edge shows up on film and earns respect in the huddle. Elijah Surratt is a reliable, no-nonsense receiver who does the little things right. He's dependable, assignment sound, and quarterback friendly, not flashy, not loud, but consistently productive. The kind of player offensive staffs trust and defenses get frustrated by because he's always exactly where he's supposed to be. A high-volume possession receiver, trusted third down option, plus contributor in the run game. In my opinion, he's a winning football player. And oh shoot, there we are. Okay, it's on the wrong screen. And he just so the only reason I bring this up is because I watched the Rams playoff game, and he's got some Puka Nacua to him, right? Like Puka is always that go-to guy whenever there's a first down that needs to be had. He's looking for Puka. And I kind of felt that way with IU this year with Elijah Surratt. Like he doesn't drop the ball. And I don't think he had a single fumble this year after reception. So a good possession receiver is gonna hold on to the ball. He sounds like a Miami guy, not a Green Bay guy. So yeah, I really fell in love watching Elijah Surratt this year.
So obviously, I think a lot of stuff you said and right on the money, man. Again, not the flashiest guy, but again, definition of a quarterback's security blanket. Flashy, not flashy, but dependable, tough. I had note on there, dog mentality when it came to block. He's a willing blocker, physical. Yep. Wins in critical moments, high floor wide receiver. You're not drafting to be your wide receiver one. You're drafting a professional who keeps drives alive, plays winning football, shows up when it matters. He could be a valuable starter or a high-end possession wide receiver for years. I really like watching him. I'm going to really look into him a lot more. But what did you think, Josh?
Yeah, I agree with what you guys all said. But the big thing with him is I want to see what he runs at the combine, because that's going to be the big separator for him, because this is going to be a deep class like we've talked about. Maybe he is a guy that moves down the draft to where Brazil and people of that move up the draft because of the athletic profile. But when a player plays well, they catch the ball well, and they're relied upon, you normally see great things happen with those players. So take the athletic ability outside of it. That's front office people that care about that. I just care about a good player, and Surratt is just a good player overall.
Yeah. And I want to say too, I see the day said surprised not to see Lemon out of USC. Let me just say again, these are three guys that we highlighted today. We'll talk about more guys as the offseason goes along. Another thing I will say too, that the three guys that we're talking about here kind of fit where Miami could be going at wide receiver, and that is size. Mekhi Lemon is 5'11", I think 190. Yeah. I think he's in that ballpark. So not that Miami will not draft him, we don't know, but we're going that big body receiver. That's why we kind of went this route. The guy I want to talk about today is a guy that was hurt, but I mean when you watched him, he was fun to watch, man. Chris Bell out of Louisville, a senior, 6'2", 220, built like a linebacker, finished the season on 72 receptions, 917 yards, 6 touchdowns, first team all ACC this season. I pull up my notes here. Chris Bell is a matchup problem the moment he steps on the field. He's built like a linebacker, playing at wide receiver at 220 pounds. It pairs that frame with a legitimate 4.4 speed, creating a size speed profile that defensive coordinators have to game plan for. Corners simply don't want to see this guy isolated in space. He runs through arm tackles, requires multiple defenders to bring him down, and turns routine completions into physical statements. When I see him catch the ball, man, for me, it's outside of what I'm writing here, sometimes I thought it was like a running back, a big bodied back running through these guys. As a vertical threat, Bell brings real value. He shows an advanced release package with mixed tempo footwork that forces corners to open their hips early, allowing them to stack press defenders and threaten them downfield when given free releases. Tracks the deep ball naturally, maintains focus through contact, and finishes catches in traffic. He's a very physical receiver. Once the ball is in his hands, he turns it into a running back, accelerating through angles and erasing pursuit from the secondary with his burst and power. Bell also knows how to use his body. As on intermediate routes like comebacks and curls, he leverages physicality and surprising declaration to create separation at the break point. His dense frame and strength allow him to shield defenders and win at the catch point, especially when defenders are late or out of position. The concern is polish. Bell's route tree is currently limited. With most of his production coming on vertical routes and possession-style patterns, he doesn't have elite quick twitch explosiveness to instantly separate on short area routes, particularly against disciplined zoned coverage. Physical corners can disrupt him mid-route, knock him off his timing, and force inconsistencies in downfield production week to week. He has the speed, the physical dominance to be a problem at the next level, but he needs refinement in the finer points of route running to fully unlock his ceilings. The tools are there. The consistency is not there yet. Bottom line, Chris Bell is a high upside, physically imposing receiver who can tilt coverage, change how defenses play you. He's not a finished product, but he's exactly the kind of developmental weapon teams can bet on. If you're willing to coach him and expand his route inventory, you could end up with a true Alpha X receiver. If not, he still brings immediate value as a vertical and possession threat who punishes defensive backs. So what I want to highlight, this is something that Jon-Eric Sullivan said. And I don't think with the Dolphins or when he was hired, but I think when you listen to him when he did Green Bay, drafting guys who like are perfect, not finished products, but that's why you get the right coaches to build those guys up. This guy screams that type of player.
Right.
You know, yeah, there's a lot of upside and there's a lot of things to love on, but the stuff you got to work on, that's what you be able to get him. Like, oh, you got him in the third round. How the hell did they get this guy in the third round, their second round? Well, it's because those limitations, but that's why you got to trust your coaching staff to build them up. I really do love watching Chris Bell, and I would be ecstatic if he was a Dolphin by the end of draft weekend. Coach?
Yeah, I haven't had an opportunity to watch much of his stuff, but we have testing this week, so I won't be testing tomorrow. I'll be watching film.
Shame. No, just playing.
Watching film on some of these guys. So, yeah, I mean, that is, that's what we're looking for, guys that want to come in and compete. And I think some of those guys that, aren't other teams aren't as high on, you just get to put a little chip on your shoulder, right? You just want to come in and compete. And I would not be surprised at all to see a completely different wide receiver room next year, with Waddle being the only holdover.
I'll just say again, built like a linebacker, fast as heck as a receiver, runs like a running back when that ball's in his hands, physical when he's running with the ball. Yeah, there are things like, the things that you say, man, he needs to work on this, he needs to work on that, he needs to work on it. The pros he has, I think outweighs the cons. Like I really do like him, and I think Miami could get lucky. Any team's really gonna get lucky because you could get him later than he should probably be drafted. Right. Josh, have you had a chance to watch Chris Bell, or what did you just think about hearing about him?
Yeah, no, I did get an opportunity to watch him. I think what he brings to Miami, if he was to come to Miami, is that physicality that they've been lacking. They've had a lot of speed, a lot of softness, would I say. And it kind of brings that mentality that Sully has been talking about bringing. I want offensive linemen. I want defensive line. I want to build that up. Well, this just brings a second physicality to this. Normally powerful, physical guys translate better to cold weather. He could do that as well.
All across the board. Yeah, I just want to be physical all across the board.
Yeah, I
Receivers,
agree.
DBs, everywhere.
It's kind of like that. And I mean, I know this is a bad word right now, but it's like that San Francisco, like few years back build of we're going to be physical regardless. But the one thing that he has a lot of wasted movement, especially coming off the line of scrimmage. He takes a lot of time to step back before he moves forward. Cleaning that up can help him as well in his releases, route running, things of that nature. So, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to improve him as a player.
Just say here, too, some updated here on Mike McDaniel. Adam Schefter, Mike McDaniel is expected to become the Chargers offensive coordinator, barring a change of heart, per Jeff Darlington and me. McDaniel has informed other teams that they are out. The Chargers clearly want him, and the two sides are having dinner tonight. Expectation across the league is that McDaniel will be staying in L.A. So very interesting developments as we wrap up the show. Mike McDaniel will be the general manager. Not general manager. Offensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Chargers. Damn. No. So there you go.
He got a taste of that Miami weather and said, let me keep that. Let me go to the West Coast now. And
that's exactly what it is. He went palm tree to palm tree. He didn't like cold weather.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, wrap this one up here at the second episode of On the Clock, the Fins Talk Draft Show. Scotty, Daniel, so great to see you guys back. Scotty says his favorite show on the channel. We know how.
Scotty, we love you, homie.
Of course, Dad Dean, appreciate you watching the day 2026. First time watching the channel. Appreciate you. Bobby, your screen is frozen. Am I still frozen? Or am I?
You're good now.
Okay, good. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. I probably wasn't frozen. I was just reading. I was reading my report. We all had our reports to do. That's why it seemed like I was so focused, but I do like Chris Bell. Russell, Finstanza, DSG. I want to make sure I get everybody. Daniel. I don't want to miss anybody. Rob, Steve, everyone. Appreciate you all watching. Miss Fins. Oh, Miss Fins in the house. Appreciate you. Guys, we will be back. We're going to do these. We'll be back. Should be back next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll spotlight another position for the Dolphins to possibly draft, maybe secondary this time. We'll do that. We'll go into O-line, D-line. We got it all. Obviously, talk about as the new OC, the new DC. We got it all here. So join us here every week, 8 p.m. Eastern time, Monday night. Today's Tuesday, but guys were kind of catching up yesterday. But Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern here on FTSN. Like and subscribe before we wrap it up. Coach, any final thoughts?
I'm excited. I can't wait. What position group we doing next week? Let's get. What do the fans want? What do you guys want?
Yeah, there you go. That's a great question. For those watching, what position would you like us to spotlight next week? Please let us know as we wait on that. Josh, final thoughts?
Yeah, I did see a comment earlier about when are we going to get into these mock drafts. I think we're going to get a couple more players under us and then move into the mock draft part of it. But I'm just excited. I think it's going to be a good year. Excited that we now have a GM, a head coach, interested in who's going to be the offensive coordinator here. Because then we can start looking at offensive players. But we have movement in like the direction we're going to take. And it's a great feeling moving forward.
I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out. Number one shout out. Okay, guys, let's all say this. Snapper 305, brother, we're going to give you a shout out, my man. I was just saving the best for last, my man. I wasn't forgetting you. I didn't miss you.
Yeah.
I saved the best for last, brother. Hey, can we guys, safeties, corner, edge rusher, tight end, running back, punter. Steve just starting.
Yes, Steve. Yes.
So let's go. Let's do it right now, guys. We'll, so many in here. So thanks for the clarification, guys. Coach, your thought. What position should we cover?
Let's go edge. Got some monsters out there, don't we?
Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for edge.
Edge it is. We're going to bring
edge rusher.
Edge rusher next week.
All right, so that's what we're going to spotlight next week. Edge rusher for on the clock, Fins Talk Draft Show, and obviously reacting to further news with the Miami Dolphins. Do we get clarity after the press conference on Thursday with Coach Hafley and GM Sully, and what's going to go happen with the OC and the DC? We're going to talk about that. Don't forget, Thursday night, Fins Talk Today with Sammy and myself, episode 2 of the new revamped show. Continuing coverage of the draft and the Dolphins, of course, with Real Talk Fins Talk, which was on earlier tonight. Overtime with Finstanza and Greg and Brett. If you love wrestling, we got that too. No Holds Barred, Saturday, at 5. Josh's face changed there because it's Kimmel. It's more Kimmel than it's wrestling. But watch us there. We're going to be reviewing actually the Fighting Machine from the new movie of The Rock. So we're going to watch that Friday night and review it on Saturday. So we're going to try some different things. We're excited about that.
I just watched that. It's really good movie.
Is it really good? All right, cool.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
Great. So we're going to review that. I think it releases on HBO on Friday. So I'm going to watch that.
I had a 6-hour flight to go to California. I was like, what movies can I watch? And
that's perfect. So at least I know you thought it was good. So maybe watch on Saturday and tell us what you think because we're talking about it. And
doesn't want me to join, but that's cool. I'll just watch
you can join, brother. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, brother. No, join. No, yeah, brother. We'll talk about it all, man. So yeah, there you go. Josh Kimmel and Josh Wingate will reunite on Saturday, No Holds Barred Wrestling, to review the Fighting Machine. And of course, we got Fantasy Sports with Josh Kimmel and the crew there, man. They're with Fantasy Now Plus, they kill it. On Deck Baseball with
Russ
Morgan and Q, and of course the Canes Were a Podcast. Those guys are awesome. I know they're getting over the depression of defeat, but they've done a great job. So a lot of great stuff here on FTSN, guys. Appreciate you all. Like, subscribe, and most importantly, as always, Dolphin fans, fins up.
Go Cowboys.